Right, here we go. The last section of this GCSE revision, what's going to come up. Now, here we have the question where we've got to write this here in the form x plus a squared plus b. So what we need to do is, the key thing is this a here. It's always half of the minus 4, so long as we only have one lot of x squared. We've only got one lot of x squared. If we've got more x squareds, then we're going to have to divide by how many we got to get it down to 1 before we can halve it to get a. So in this case, we know that a is going to be minus 2. Right? So we've got x minus all squared. Now, every time we multiply this out, we always get this minus 2 squared coming out, which is equal to 4. Okay, so whatever you've got here, you need, the easiest way to do it is to take that away. So take away the minus 2 squared and then add on what it is you need to have on the end, and that gives you the number on the end. Let's just do that. So we're going to get x minus 2 all squared. Minus 2 squared is 4, minus 4 plus 13 is going to give minus 9. So that's my final answer for that. Show that the equation x cubed plus 2x equals 1 has a solution between x equals 0 and x equals 1. Now the best way to do this is actually to rewrite this as this. And then what we do is we put 0 in and we get a negative, we get a value, and put 1 in, we get another value, and they should be either side of 0 if that's the case. So what we're going to do is let x equal 0, and that implies that x cubed plus 2x minus 1 equals minus 1. 0 cubed is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1 gives us minus 1. And if we let x equal 1, then we're going to get 1 cubed plus 2 times 1 minus 1. So that's going to give me 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. As there is a sign change, there must be a root, there must be a solution. Be a solution between them. Okay. Now we want to show the equation can be rearranged to give this. So we've got x cubed plus 2x. We want to try and get the x cubed on the right as a good starting point. So therefore, let's do 2x equals 1 minus x cubed. And then we divide throughout by 2. We have to divide this by 2, so it gives me a half. Divide this whole thing here by 2. Okay, that will give me minus x cubed over 2. So we've done that bit as well. Starting with x equals 0, use the iteration formula xn plus 1 equals that twice to find the estimate of the solution of x cubed plus 2x equals 1. Right, for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use decimals to put 0 into this. So we've got half, which is the same as 0.5, minus 0 divided by 2. Enter. And that gives us just a half as our first value. So we've got x0 equals 0, x1 equals half. And if we then bring in, take our answer, so we do 0.5 minus our answer to the power of 3, divide by 2, right, divide by 2, and gives us 0.4375. And it says do it twice, so that is our final answer. Right, in this question we have a circle, centre O, and the tangent to the circle is at the point 6, 8 here. So what we're going to do is we are going to find the equation of the tangent at the point P. So the easiest way to do this is to realise that the radius and the tangent always make an angle of 90 degrees. Therefore, if we got the radius and tangent always make an angle of 90 degrees, then the gradient of the radius times by the gradient of tangent must times together to give us minus 1. So let's find the gradient of the radius. Gradient of the radius is equal to, we go 6 along and 8 up, then the gradient of the radius is going to equal 8 over 6, which simplifies to 4 over 3. Now to find, therefore, if that times together with the gradient of the tangent, we'll call m, give you -1, then m must equal -1 divided by 4/3, which is the same as -1 times 3/4. That gives us -3/4. Now, if you use the equation y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, this is the equation of a line where the y1 and the x1 here are the points on the line. So there's your y1 value 8 and there's your x1 value 6. And we know the gradient, okay, because it's equal to -3/4. So we've got all the values we need to create the equation of a line. So it's going to be y minus 8 equals -3/4 x minus 6. And there's no real need to simplify that. It only asks the equation of the tangent, which you've got. But if you did want to simplify this, then we could times throughout by 4 and get 4y minus 32 equals -3 times x minus 6. I'm going to go past the answer here. And I'm going to get 4y by multiplying out the brackets equals -3x plus 18. And then I can get everything on the same side. So 4y plus 3x. Take 18 away from 32. That's -50 equals 0. Right, this question here we have a triangle which has no right angles in it, as we can see. And we have a side opposite an angle and an angle opposite a side we want to find. So when you have what I call opposite pairs, then it tells you that you're going to use the sine rule. And the version of the sine rule we're going to, when you do the sine rule, label the triangle how you want to label it. So fortunately in this case it actually all adds up nicely with the right lettering for what we want. So I'm going to do a over sine A equals b over sine b. If you're looking for sides, put these on the top. If you're looking for angles, put these on the top. In this case, we're looking for sides. So we're going to put the a and the b on the top. So let's substitute that in. So I don't know a, and I do know the angle. So it's sine of 33 equals b, which is 15, over sine of 112. Here we go. Here's my calculator. So I'm going to grab that. First of all, I'm just going to rearrange this to get what I want. I want to get a equals sine of 33 times 15 over sine of 112. So let's do that. So we got sine 33 times 15 divided by sine 112. Just check them in degrees, which I am, and I get my answer of 8.81. It doesn't give me a degree of accuracy, so let me just have a look. 8.81, that will do, round to 3SF. So now let's look at this one. So we want to calculate the length of BC here, and this one we don't have opposite pairs, so we're going to use the cosine rule. So let's make that equal to A, that equal to B, that equal to C. Always have the letters opposite each other. Okay, so the little b and little a and so on, always opposite the capital versions. So we know that a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. So a squared will equal b squared, which is 20 squared, plus c squared, 23 squared, minus 2 times 20 times 23 times cos of 55. Grab your calculator. So we're going to get 20 squared plus 23 squared minus 2 times 20 times 23 times cos of 55. That gives you 401. We want to square root that answer to get our final answer. It's 20.03. So a squared is roughly 401 point something, and a came out to be 20.03. So it's 20.0 to 3s F. Right, this question. Calculate the area of this triangle. And the area of a triangle you need to know is equal to half AB sine C. So it's equal to half 6 times 7 times sine of 60. Grab the calculator again and we get new line 0.5 times, what was it, 6, because I can't read my own writing there. Yeah, 6 times 7 times sine of 60. Actually, you should, in theory, you could quite well be asked to do some non-calculated, but fortunately you've had the calculator paper. Equals 18.1, because sine 60 is a nice third. Let's just check that, 8.18. So that will come out to 18.2 to 3 significant figures. Okay. Now these last two have just been standard questions with just the formula in it. Do be aware they can make lots of variations on these sine rule, cosine rule questions where you don't just apply the formula, you might be given the area and got to rearrange it. Okay, so do be aware of that when doing those questions. Now, vectors question. Write down DF in terms of A and B. So we're trying to find that. We know that DE is 4A and EF is 6B. So we can get to DF by going D via E via B. So it's just going to be 4A plus 6B. So we're going that way with 4A, that way with 6B. So we get 4A plus 6B. DF to FG is 2 to 3. So this is in the ratio 2 to 3. Work out the vector DG in terms of A and B. Well, this is actually going to be the equivalent of 2, and this is going to be 3 times as big, so the whole thing will be 5 over 2 times this, because 2 plus 3 is 5. We know this is equivalent to 2 parts, so you divide it by 2 to get the 1 part and times by 5 to get the 5 parts. So 5 over 2 times 4A plus 6B, dividing that by 2, you get 2 and 3, times by 5 will give you 10A plus 15B. Checking there's not a part C. This? No, there's not. Right, shown is a cone and a triangular prism. Both sides of the same volume. Calculate the height of the cone. Now, cone is technically a sort of circular-based pyramid. So always remember, the area is equal to third of any pyramid, is third the base area times the height. So therefore, we're going to get third times B times pi times 10 squared will equal the area volume of this. And it's a prism, so you take the area of here and times by the length. And the area of here is going to be half the base times the height, so we're going to get 5, which is half the base, times by 9, and then times by the length 20. So therefore B will equal 5 times 9 is we've got 100, 900 there, haven't we? Over 10 is another 100, so we can cancel that. Well, we can cancel that with the 100 there, so that cancels out with there. And we're going to divide by pi and divide by 3, which is the same as timesing by 3. Sorry, if you're dividing by third, it's the same as timesing by 3, not dividing by 3. So we're going to times that by 3 and divide by pi. So we'll grab our calculator for that, and we get 3 times 9 divided by pi. And the order doesn't really matter here, because it's multiplication division, you don't need to worry about the math order. So it's 8.59. 2, 3 significant. Okay, this question. There are 8 sweets in a bag. 3 sweets are red, 3 sweets are blue, 2 sweets are green. So we got 3 red, 3 blue, and 2 green. That all adds up to 8, so I've written those down correctly. 3 sweets are selected at random without replacement. Now probably these sweets are not all the same colour. So you can have red, blue, green. You can have red, green, blue. You can have blue, green, red, and you can have, sorry, that's meant to be blue, green, red, and you can have blue, red, green, and then we got green at the beginning, green, red, blue, and green, blue, red, as the ways we could do this. Now, if I pick them out, let's just say let's just do this one first. So we've got red, blue, green. So we've got 3 out of 8 are red. And then we're going to choose some blues. So there's going to be 3 out of 7 are going to be blue. And then we've got to choose a green. 2 out of 7 is 2 out of 6 even is going to be green. Now what you need to realise that all of these are going to have the same probability, because the only thing that changes is the order that the top numbers come in. They'll just come in a different order each time. So you might have the 2 at the front or the middle, or the 3's reverse. So actually all we need to do is just times all of that by 6, because there are 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways of doing that. You could work out each one and add them all up, but that will take you a bit longer. We can cancel out 6 with this 6. So, and we could cancel out 2 here to get 4. So that leaves you 4 times 7 is 28. Solve these simultaneous equations. Now you always take the easier simultaneous equation and put it into the big one. And so we have to decide whether we're going to do y or x. Now the easiest way to do it is if we have y equals 5 minus 2x, that we don't have to do any division. If we make x a subject, we'd have to divide by 2, which makes life a bit more difficult. So therefore, I'm going to, y is equal to all of that. So I'm going to replace that y there with 5 minus 2x. So I get 2x squared minus 5 minus 2x, because that's what y equals, squared, 1148. So what I've done is I replaced the y with 5 minus 2x. So square that all out. So we get 2x squared minus, open brackets, 5 squared is 25. Now remember, you've got to FOIL this. A very common mistake is just to square this and square this. This means 5 minus 2x times 5 minus 2x. So I'm just going off the page there. Bring that back in. So yeah, this means 5 minus 2x times by 5 minus 2x. So times the first two things together, 5 times 5 is 25, times the outer 5 times minus 2x is minus 10x. Times the inner two things is another minus 10x, times the last two things is a plus 4x squared equals 1148. Just going to rub that bit of working out because I don't need it. So let's just put this all together. So we are going to get a minus here, and there's a minus 20x, that's going to be plus 20x, minus a minus. Then I'm going to have a minus 25, and 2x squared minus 4x squared is going to be minus 2x squared equals 1148. And then I'm going to add 25. Let's take everything to the right hand side so as this x squares become positive. So if 0 is equal to 2x squared minus 20x, and we've got plus 25. So we've got plus 25. Sorry, that's going to be plus 1173. Now, I would advocate you don't really bother with trying to factorise this. Generally, these questions can be factorised. It's quite likely there'll be 2 factors that will work for this. When you see something like this, though, unless you can do it in a few seconds, it's not worth it. Use a quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is going to be minus b, which is 20, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 400, minus 4ac. Which at the moment is a negative number, and is big and is no good to us. So we've made a mistake. So let's go back and see where the mistake was made. Y equals that. That's okay. It's here. I've written down a copying error. So as soon as you find a mistake, go back and look and see where you're likely to have made a mistake. So there you go. That's where I made my mistake. So that's going to change a few things. So I'm going to end up with, let's just rub this out. So I'm going to end up with plus 6x squared, and I'm going to end up with a plus 25 and a minus 20x. So I've got 6x squared minus 20x. And now I'm going to take this away from 25. 5 off, that's 3, 20, so it's 1, 1, 2, 3. And now it's a negative number because I've taken it away from both sides. So that's not so bad. So that's looking a bit better than before. So now we're going to do x equals 20 plus or minus the square root of 400. And I've got 4 minus 4 times 6 times minus 1, 2, 3. Because I've got minus and a minus, I'm going to get a plus. So I get 4 times 6 times 1, 1, 2, 3. All over 2a, which is 12. So I'm going to grab my calculator, work that out. So I've got 20, let's just put some brackets around this, 20, let's do plus first, the square root of 400 plus 4 times 6 times 1, 1, 2, 3, and then divide all of that by 12. And that gives me 15.44. And I just want to get the other answer. So I don't know. So I can change that to a minus. And I get 12.11. Now I need to find the y values because what was y equal? Y was equal to 5 minus 2x. Y equals 5 minus 2x, so therefore y will equal, using this, so I'm going to put my answer in, and I'm going to put 5 minus 2 times answer, which gives me 29 when it's minus 12. So y equals 29, what was it, 29.23. And then, clever thing about Desmos calculators, I can just go back, change that one to a plus, and everything else works out. So I get minus 25.89. So minus 25.89, check my rounding. 897. Okay, I'm going to write the 7 because I can't be bothered to put, well, I could write it out. It's going to be 25.9 if I round that, or 25.90 when I round that up. So there are the pairs of answers. You should pair up your answers. I'm just going to do it by highlighting. You should write them together in pairs. Okay, so we've got quite a big question to fit on here. We can just do it there. Right, remote control car drives in a straight line. It starts from rest, travels at constant acceleration for 20 seconds, reaching a velocity of 12 meters per second. So in the first 20 seconds, constant acceleration until here. So we can draw that. Then travels at constant speed for 20 seconds. So it's going to go from here to there. And then it travels, slows down, constant deceleration of 4 meters per second squared. If it's got a gradient of 4, it's going to have a gradient of minus 4, so it's going to lose that in 3 seconds. Let's just get that's about there. Okay. So we want to find, that's our graph. Using the velocity time graph, just be aware, 4 meters per second deceleration. That means this gradient is going to be minus 4 if it's getting slower. And so we're going from 12, 3 along, gives us a gradient of minus 4. Using your velocity time graph, work out the total distance travelled. So we need to find the area of this triangle. Well, you can do it actually an easier way, is trapezium. Trapezium, we just want to do, we've called out the height, call this A, call this B, and it's just equal to a half A plus B times the height, which equals, now B was 20 and the base is 43 times a half times the height, which is 12. So we're going to end up with 63 times by 6. So that's going to give me 1 over 6 times 6, 36, 378 meters travelled. Okay, so do remember the area under the velocity time graph is equal to the distance travelled. And that covers all the questions from that paper. And what you would have noticed is that the questions are not all terribly difficult compared to the really hard ones you'll need to get right to get level 9. So do go back through your past papers to look at all the difficult questions at the end. I would suggest practicing the last 5 to 10 questions on every paper you've ever done would be a good start if you think you can do all these questions on this paper.